Mev the Alien. Welcome back. This is week 12 of our $2 beginner poker challenge. I'm turning $2 into $2,000 playing poker without making an initial deposit. Here you're looking at an overall graph from the first 11 weeks up to this point. This week was frustrating. You know when you're losing and you're not sure if it's because you're just running bad or maybe you just suck at poker? Yeah, one of those weeks. And I think it's a bit of both run bad and suck. Seems like I'm getting a lot of coolers and bad boards, but I'm also getting frustrated and making some bad mistakes. But this week I'm not going to show you a bunch of disgusting suckouts like I did last week. I thought I'd put in one or two stupid mistake hands this week for educational value, but as usual there's just so many hands that I want to put in these videos, and those suckout and mistake hands just didn't make the cut for this 10-minute video. But if you guys like seeing these hand reviews, let me know, put a comment below, and I might throw together some extra hand review videos, kind of like a director's cut thing. Last week we were up just over $8, and if you remember, adjusted for all-in EV, it was around $29, so yeah, we had an unlucky week last week. The bankroll total was $238, which is 11.9% of our way to the $2,000 goal. The win rate was 4.6 big blinds per 100 hands. We open up pocket sevens in this NL5 game, and we get called by this pretty loose guy. He's playing 36% of hands, so he should be pretty wide here. And we see it heads up. I think we have the best hand here, so I bet out. And looking at this guy's fold to c-bet stat, is only 45%. In order for the c-bet to be profitable outright, it needs to work around 60% of the time with rake. So we're not going to get enough folds for this to be profitable outright, but we do have some equity. And I'm not going to give up initiative and check call. So we can show a bit of strength here by betting out. And he calls. The turn doesn't really change anything. It does put another flush draw out there, and I decide to check. I think he could bet out here because we probably do have the best hand, and there's a lot of river cards that could change that, but I chose to keep the pot small. I don't really like building a big pot out of position. Feel free to disagree with my check here, and if you do, I'd love to hear your opinion. Just put a comment below. And villain checks behind too, so we can be pretty confident that he doesn't have a made hand here. He doesn't have a jack or an overpair or a set. If he had any of those hands, he would be betting out here to protect it. If he has a made hand, he should be scared of the flush draws, the straight draws, and overcards. The river's a jack, so it's even less likely that he has a jack, and we choose to check again, and the reason is because I don't think he's got a hand, and if we bet out, he's just going to fold all his air. And if he does have a hand and it does beat us, he's probably going to call, so there's no point in betting here. And by checking, we can induce a bluff, and this does look like a bluff. I think most of the time this is a bluff for the reasons we just talked about. So we choose to call that, and he turns over queen 9. So on the flop he had a gut shot. He was looking for a 10. He didn't get it, and on the river he decided to bluff. So by checking that river, we showed weakness 2 streets in a row, and villain took that as an opportunity to bluff, which allowed us to extract a little bit more value from a not so great hand. This is NL5. We get an open from early position, and it folds around to us in the big blind. Now what do you do here with pocket sixes? Shove, right? No, just kidding. Don't do that. Let's look at villain's stats. He's opening 4% of hands, and since he's in early position, his range should be a little tighter too. So classic tight aggressive knit here. We are getting good odds for set mining. We only have to call 10 more cents here for his $2 stack, and if we do hit our set, there's a good chance he's got an overpair. He's got a strong hand that he can put the rest of his stack in with. We nail the flop, we hit middle set, check to the razor, he bets out, and I choose to call here. You could raise, and we will need to raise at some point in this hand to get stacks in. He's got a $1.65 left, and we're not going to get that whole thing just by check calling to the river. The advantage of raising here would be to get more money in before another club comes. If another club comes, that could slow down the action quite a bit. He could be scared that we have a flush. I'm not really worried that he has a club draw here. The only hand in his range would be ace-king of clubs, maybe ace-queen of clubs, but most of his hands are pocket pairs here. So we call that, and we see the turn. Check to the razor, he bets out again. Now here I think the board is getting pretty wet, and there's a lot of cards that can come on the river that can slow down the action. Any club, any spade might slow things down, and a 9 or a 7 could slow things down too. So I think this is the best spot to raise and get more money in. Villain puts us all in, and of course we're calling that, and he turns over pocket kings. So this is a good example of how set mining can be really effective against an opponent who's on a really tight range. When they have strong hands and you nail your set, you have a pretty good chance of taking the whole stack. Here we are at an NL2 zoom table with pocket kings. Oh yeah, baby. We're gonna 3-bet that, and we get called. Interesting. Actually, not really that interesting. We see heads up flop, and we bet out. We're probably ahead here. There's a few hands that we're behind. We get called, so we get another spade on the turn. I don't really like that. If he does have ace jack, that might scare him a bit, and if he does have a flush, then that's not good for us. I don't think we're going to get any hands that we beat to call a bet here. We choose to check. Villain checks behind, and again, I don't think we're going to get value from hands that we beat here. We have king high flush. We might get value from a 10 of spades or a 9 of spades, something like that, but it would be thin, and we also risk getting raised by an ace of spades or a full house. So I choose to check, hopefully just see the showdown. Villain bets out pretty small, and you kind of got to call that. So we did have an ace high flush here, and we managed to dodge a bullet and only lose 42 cents, which is 21 big blinds. NL2 zoom, we open up 8-7 suited. We get one caller, see the flop heads up. It is a very good flop for us. I don't know what kind of accent that was. Vampire, maybe? I don't know. We have top pair and a gut shot straight. Draw. So we bet out. Villain min raises us. We're just getting way too good of odds to fold here. He probably does have a pretty good hand, but of course I've seen this hand already, so I already know what he's got. So we'll call that. We hit our gutter. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for a straight. Isn't that great? Click like, don't hate. Excellent rapping skills there. If you like my rapping skills, let me know. Put a comment below. Hey, that rhymed too. Isn't that cool? Okay, I'll stop now, I promise. So where were we? Okay, we have a straight. Villain bets pot. There's not much left in the stack, so we just put them all in. He calls, and he turns over pocket fours for a set. So lesson to Villain, I'm not going to fold my draw to a min raise, and you risk losing your whole stack. Here's the graph for the week. We had a rough start, down to almost $15 near the beginning of the week, and then this near recovery, and then a frustrating horizontal run for the rest of the week. And like I said before, it felt like I was card dead and I was hitting bad boards, and then add a bit of frustration, tilt, and bad decisions, and then you get a green line like this. And luckily we recovered at the end of the week. We dropped down to almost $14 and then had a really good session on Sunday. Let's look at the orange line, and you can see that we were running above EV most of the week. So we got lucky, which was nice after last week's bad run. So the universe doesn't hate me. So we'll throw in the past 2 weeks, and here you can see we're running below EV for almost the whole time, and then kind of evened out near the end of the 2-week period. So I have one less excuse to explain poor recent results. This week we're up $20. That's right, I'm rounding up. The bankroll total is $257, which is 12.9% of our way to the $2,000 goal. The win rate was 7 big blinds per 100 hands, and adjusted for all-in equity it would be closer to 2 big blinds per 100 hands. Again, not a very good week. Our goal for next week is a win rate of 10 big blinds per 100 hands at NL5. You can find me at evthealien.com. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter as evthealien. If you want to tell me I'm a genius or a moron for playing a hand a certain way, leave a comment below. I love hearing from you guys. Click like, subscribe. I'm EvTheAlien. Get it in good, and see you in the next video.